going on, everybody? It's Nick Bolliger back with NMB Sports here. To my right, I got my man Brandon.
What's going on, guys?
What do you got for us today?
All right, so we're going to start with NBA questions that people have sent in to us, and we want to thank you again for sending in. If you got any questions, make sure to send them in to us. People were asking, is Russell Westbrook okay without Kevin Durant?
I think he's more than okay individually. I think once they come playoff time, they're going to need a jump shooter where Victor Oladipo can help them.
Right.
But there's potential that they could make a trade for Rudy Gay once Cameron Payne returns.
Which I think would be massive for them.
Yeah. Now, if you don't know, before Cameron Payne broke his foot, there was a lot of potential that the Kings wanted to trade for a young point guard that they could build around for the future. Because obviously Darren Collison is reaching the end of his prime, towards the latter end of his career.
Yep.
And he really hasn't been like an all-star.
A dominant person.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
right.
you know, Cameron Payne's a guy that can develop into an all-star.
Right.
Know, we've seen point guards behind Russell Westbrook before, like Reggie Jackson, go and become a force out in Detroit. So, I mean, Cameron Payne, of course, has that potential in a different way. He's more of like a shooting, offensive, finesse player. But they could make that swap. And for that, Oklahoma would be just fine without.
Right. And that leads me to my point. I think Russell Westbrook statistically is okay without Kevin Durant.
Right. I mean,
I feel like more than okay, as we've seen. A thing that I did want to bring up, Oklahoma, right now, they're just about the same in terms of record.
Right.
I did want to bring up Russell Westbrook won't be able to do it all for 82 games. Right now, it's obviously working for them. I feel like once it comes down to like the All-Star break, if they don't get that good shooter and that good star, I feel like Russell Westbrook, you'll see drops in his field goal percentage, turnover percentage, and they won't be able to really win games if they don't find that one scorer.
You know, a thing that you could look at, though, is, I mean, he's in his prime.
Yep.
Like, LeBron had been in this situation before. He carried the team to a finals by himself, essentially. He has Victor Oladipo, who, as he picks up a bigger role in the offense, could run.
I feel like mid-December he will pick up.
He's going to take stuff off of Russell.
Right.
They've got a solid post game, so I mean, you know, you could just start throwing it down there, just start hammering teams. Like a team like Golden State, I would just bully. If you're going to put Draymond at your 5, I'm going to put Enes Kanter and Steven Adams.
How tall is Draymond Green? 6'8"?
He's about 6'8" or 6'9".
Yeah.
I'm going to put my 7-foot trees down there, and they're going to hammer Draymond Green all game.
And Zaza Pachulia, who can't play 48 minutes.
Right.
So
they play him about 17 minutes per game.
Right.
So I'd hammer them.
So our next question was sent in. Someone asked, was James Harden going to the point guard the best decision he's made in his career?
In his career, to be quite honest with you, individually, yes, and for that team, same thing as Russell Westbrook. I mean, he makes the final play. Like, if you look at James Harden and Russell Westbrook, they're similar, kind of different.
Yep.
In the fact that James Harden's a better shooter, Russell Westbrook's a better defender, though, or plays harder on defense, I should say. Oh, excuse me. You know, really, they both make the same type of passes. They get in the lane, and then they make that.
They draw that double team.
That final pass, though.
Right.
Like, you know, I like to watch Spurs ball, where they kick the ball around. Like, there's like a complete ball reversal, and then like a pass into the middle of the lane to a guy that's got a backdoor cut.
Right.
And he lays it in.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna add to what you were saying.
Right.
I believe to this point, James Harden being the point guard for the Houston Rockets is the best decision he's made statistically in his career.
Yeah.
But like you've mentioned to me before, they are a small forward away from being a real contender for a championship. So I do believe that once they find that one piece, James Harden staying at the point, they could get that extra shooter open, and they still have the post player in Clint Capella.
And now I believe he's averaging over 10 assists. Is that
He's
correct?
averaging over 10 assists and 30 points.
Yeah, and right around 9.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9 rebounds.
Yeah, now Russell Westbrook, they're very similar in numbers.
They are.
Russell's averaging up and around 30 points per game.
Yep.
I think he's averaging like 9.5 in both assists and rebounds. So
I think he's averaging over 10 assists and just under 9 rebounds.
Yeah, last time I checked it was like just fractions under 9. So or under 10, excuse me. So it could well over be 10 now.
Yep.
But you know, those are two guys that are just incredible individuals, but they need another player around it.
Correct.
Westbrook has more than
James Harden does.
But Westbrook needs one more. They both need a small forward that can score.
They do. So we're going to move on to the last question that someone related towards the NBA. They asked, is Atlanta okay without Al Horford?
Statistically speaking, they're identical, really.
They're just
in block
nearly
shots,
the same.
even down to block shot percentage, I think they were both sitting around 32%.
Yep.
In terms of like attempts they have to block the shot. So like block shots, they're within 0.5 of each other from Al Horford's stats in Atlanta last season to Dwight Howard's this season.
Yep.
Which you have a small sample of Dwight and a full 82 game schedule of Al Horford, but points per game, both sitting around 15 points per game.
Yep.
Rebounds, obviously they're both going to grab you around 10 boards a game. So.
Yeah. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is I feel like Dwight Howard fits the system better because you do have Paul Millsap, who is that stretch four, and where
a more dominant,
and then you have a more dominant paint presence as Al Horford is more the conservative center. And also a thing that I did want to bring up. Dwight Howard, being from Georgia, does have a reason to fight for the city to get a championship, as most teams just go there to either up their level of play or win a championship for themselves. We know that Dwight Howard is going to go there.
Even for the contract money.
Or even for the contract money. We know that Dwight Howard's going there to win a championship to his team.
Oh, yeah, and again, like, he as you said, he fits the system better. The stats might be identical, but the presence, I think, more so leans in Dwight's favor.
Right. So we're going to be done with the NBA today. Remember, if you guys have any questions that you'd like to submit, we aren't dummies when it comes to the sports stuff, so make sure you guys send it in. We're going to move on to the NFL. A couple games that I did want to review is Seattle versus the Eagles. Eagles coming into Seattle. I know that you were sad that you couldn't watch that game. And also
Patriots.
a couple interesting injuries that I did want to bring up. CJ Prosise, who's really been a good find for Seattle.
I know.
And Earl Thomas also on the injury report. We're not sure what yet. He's being evaluated by doctors today. There's a couple things you want to take away from that one.
Big plays. I mean, like I looked at the stats in the first half in the early third quarter, and Doug Baldwin had two. He had multiple 30-yard receptions. I know he had two for a fact. I mean, one was a 40-yard and one was a 32-yard reception. So big plays. Jimmy Graham had a 30-yard reception that he broke 2 tackles for a touchdown.
I remember watching that one.
I mean, like, Russell Wilson had a receiving touchdown. Obviously blown coverage, but I mean, Doug Baldwin threw a great ball.
He did.
I mean,
back corner, back shoulder, perfect throw.
Like, just so many big plays, and that offense is designed around big plays. But they also, I mean, you look at the New England game; they didn't rely on the big plays against New England because New England gives up a lot of yards, but they don't give up touchdowns.
Exactly, they prevent big touchdown plays.
Right.
So Seattle edging Philadelphia in that one, and that does move Philadelphia to 500. And the NFC East now, every team is either 500 or above.
Yeah.
And then another game that I wanted to talk about that I was watching from start to finish was the Cowboys hosting the Baltimore Ravens.
You already know I watched that.
Exactly. It's this game was the first quarter was tight. You knew that definitely the Ravens won the first quarter. They were allowing little to no yardage off plays. Zeke was averaging just a little bit under 3 yards a carry going into that. And then the second quarter just happened to be Dez Bryant's quarter. And then the second half was all Cowboys. They just ran away with it.
I believe that first half ended 10-10. Is that correct?
It did.
I'm going to say Baltimore won that half.
I think it was 10-7, actually. I think Baltimore was up.
Yeah. So, I aside from the score, I think Baltimore won that half.
Right.
Because, I mean...
That defense.
They held Zeke around 100 yards.
Yeah.
97, which is extremely impressive.
Against the best rush defense in the league for a rookie.
And this was the first time I can say that Zeke earned every single yard because that offensive line met their match of a unit.
Right, exactly.
I mean, against Pittsburgh, the offensive line slaughtered that front eight. And
it was a bunch of blitz. They were trying to blitz and get in Dak's head, and it was just perfect because Zeke, once he got to the second level, had to beat a couple safeties, and he's bigger than them. So.
Yep, So he played fantastic, and I'm a firm guy that rookies have to really, really impress me in individual plays and all that. So this game, Ezekiel really impressed me. I still can't say who the best back in the league is. That's a
topic that we have
coming up.
Right,
it's coming up for you. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. I think that the Ravens took the first half, but the
Cowboys were in it.
The composure of the Cowboys' young offense took over.
And not going for deep balls and not trying to force things.
They still got
and waiting for the game to come to them.
They waited for those big plays to come to them.
Right.
And, Dez Bryant took off, and there was a time where there's just, a little post pattern in tight.
Yep.
Under the corner because they weren't pressing Dez too much.
Right.
So he just found that space and Dak hit him.
And it was his first
over and over.
Dez's first multi-touchdown game since 2014.
Yeah.
So
that's another like the Cowboys. They have 2 guys in the top 5 right now in the MVP race. I'm just gonna point that out there.
They have 2 in the top 5.
But they could that offensive line. If you want to talk about an MVP race, which again we'll get to later.
I'd give it to.
There's so many aspects of that team. The line, Zeke can be considered. He is being considered. He's number 1 actually, and Dak is in the top 5.
Right.
So,
so we're gonna move on to tonight's game, which is the Monday night game in New Mexico.
Oh yeah.
We got Texans and the Raiders. This really should be all Oakland, but again, Texans are leading their division, and Oakland is going into their needing to win this game to take a commanding lead in their division.
Right.
With Kansas City losing.
Technically speaking, because Kansas City lost, Oakland did take control of that division. Now, I really like Oakland's chances in this game.
Me too.
I think they're well equipped to beat the Texans, but the Texans, they're no slouch of a team.
Again, their rush defense, even with that front 7, even without J.J. Watt, could hold Latavius Murray to under 100 yards. It's just it comes down to the level of play of AC/DC and Michael Crabtree.
A friend of ours actually just pointed out that over the last 16 games, there are 6 teams that have done better than New England,
right,
in terms of wins and record,
regular season games
and such. And the Texans are one of them.
And so I'm going to give the edge to Oakland in this one. I feel like it's going to be a 10-point game, and I feel like Oakland's going to win.
Yeah.
It's not going to, obviously 10 points doesn't look like it's going to be a dominating game, but it will be all Oakland all the time. So
I agree. I think it might be a little closer stat wise than I previously thought because, I mean, the Texans are under the radar really.
Right.
But Oakland's in the front, and I think they're still going to take this game. Don't get me
right.
wrong. But anyway.
All right. So someone sent us a couple questions in. One of them was playoff predictions for the NFL right now. And I'm just going to throw this out there. We're going to start with the AFC. I'm going to say the first seed is going to be New England. They get the first round bye. They're going to get home field advantage. The number 2 is actually going to surprise a lot of people, but I think that Oakland's going to come out with the number 2, who I predicted to be the 3rd. I was mistaken. I think they're going to get the number 2 seed. The number 3 is, I feel like it's going to be a little bit crazy to predict, but I feel like Pittsburgh will find their groove. I feel like they will get the number 3 seed with Indianapolis getting, with Indianapolis being knocked off. I feel like Houston could get the number 4, which is crazy. Do you have any wild cards or anything you want to change the first 4 seeds for the AFC?
No, I like your first 4 seeds. I love the Oakland at number 2. Obviously,
a strong young team.
New England's the poised.
They're really the gold standard.
And really they're the class of the NFL.
They are.
So, I really like them at number 1 as well. They get it done year in and year out.
Yep.
No matter who's on their roster.
Correct.
So then, looking at number 3, I think Pittsburgh kind of found their groove. I mean, I know it was a game against Cleveland, but we had this discussion. That's a division matchup.
It is. So it's a division matchup in Cleveland. They know these guys better than any other team in the NFL.
Right.
They're going to give Pittsburgh. It's not going to be no cakewalk. So,
right. So I think they kind of found their groove a little bit defensively.
Yep.
And Le'Veon Bell had a game.
He did. He did. 143 yards
against the Browns, but I mean, he's been struggling. So
he has. They both found their groove.
It's all confidence.
It is. And I am going to give Houston the number 4 because I do feel like that division is just it's ridiculous. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I'm going to give Houston that one. The wild cards is where it gets interesting. Where I think I'm going to say Kansas City gets the number 5 seed.
I like Denver at the number 6.
And I'm going to say this. This is a really bold move, but I feel like Miami will pick up the 6th seed.
They're only 1 game out. Correct?
They're only 1 game out. They're on a 4-game win streak.
They just upped it to 5.
5-game win streak. And I feel like Denver in these next 6 games will only win 2. And I feel like the only ones that they could win, they have potential to win, would be against Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think Denver has more chance to win too. Kansas City, obviously, since it's division, both those games are going to be games. There's obviously Oakland. The 2 that he just stated. I kind of want to write Oakland off because Oakland's such a prolific team.
Right.
But again, if I'm gonna stick to my guns and talk about the division, you have to let them stay in the talk, or you have to make them in the talk. And plus, they're 7? Are they 7-2 right now, or are they 6-3?
They're 6-3.
Okay, but still, very good record.
No, 6-4.
6-4.
Correct.
I'm still comfortable with saying that, they're right there, and I really actually do like the Miami pick. They didn't even cross my mind. Again, another team under the radar.
Correct.
Ajayi has been running the ball pretty well.
Tannehill and Jarvis Landry have finally connected in these 2 years. Last week, connecting with that last second touchdown to win the game. I feel like Jarvis Landry coming in, most people don't see him as a top receiver, but he's literally a younger shaded Odell Beckham.
Yeah.
They both came out of the same college. They're best friends. They grew up around each other in high school, and literally these guys are with each other every second of every day in the offseason. They're working together, and all they needed is if you put Eli Manning in the Miami Dolphins system, Jarvis Landry will be doing the same stuff that Odell Beckham's doing.
Yep.
All he has to do is Ryan Tannehill has to keep giving him opportunities, and he will shine. He's quick. He's strong. He's got great hands. His hands are just the same size as Odell Beckham. They finally found their group.
He opens up the run game for Ajayi.
And he does.
So moving on to the NFC, though.
NFC is where it gets
hectic.
It does. When you look at last year's NFC, really it could have gone 8 teams deep. 8 teams were in the race for the playoffs.
I think it kind of flips, and now
it does. Now
I think the AFC is kind of deeper. Even though Pittsburgh has that 5-4 record,
right?
I still think they're better.
Veterans will come up.
Yeah, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown.
Yeah. So I think this is no question when it comes down to Dallas is going to be the first seed,
and I think Seattle has pretty much solidified the second seed.
Correct. So this is where it gets tough.
In terms of record, anyway.
This is where it gets tough. The 2 divisions left is we got the NFC North and the NFC South. Mm-hmm. Now, NFC South is where I think Atlanta will win. I feel like they will get the 3rd seed.
Yep.
I do want to talk about the NFC North, though.
Yeah.
The NFC North is just a complete crap show right now. Like, Green Bay struggling. Minnesota started hot, now struggling.
Yeah,
Detroit is consistent some games, but they are struggling. And Chicago's just a mess right now. So, who do you think is going to win that division?
Well, I mean, Minnesota last month, or aside from last week, they dropped 4 in a row.
Yep.
And last week they had 2 100-yard touchdowns.
Yep.
Coming from their special teams and defense. Now, they've fought through adversity, but I think it's a little bit of they don't have their guys.
They don't.
Now, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I really think he can probably lead them through that division.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say that I feel like Green Bay will win the division, so I think they'll be a number 4. But these next couple teams are going to be a little crazy. So the number 5 and the number 6, I think you and I will both agree. I feel like number 5 will be Washington.
Yep, I agree with that.
And I feel like number 6 will be New York.
Yep.
New York being 7-3, on an intense hot streak right now. Yeah. Another person who people aren't talking about is Landon Collins having a pick in his last 4 games.
Oh yeah.
And then also having over 80 tackles. This guy is playing like last year's Cam Chancellor.
Yeah.
He's making tackles. He's coming down. He's blocking linemen. He's making plays. Interceptions, forcing fumbles. He's just a great safety right now.
Yeah. He's played fantastic. I agree completely with what you have to say about the seeding there.
The 5 and the 6, I'm going to give to Washington and New York. Now, this is a question that we've been talking about for a while. We've waited because just everyone so far, we were just waiting for these people to come up, and I feel like now's the time to talk about MVP predictions. So you're gonna start. We both have completely different views on who we think should. You're looking at quarterbacks, which I think is completely fine. Quarterbacks they're literally, you can't win this league without a good quarterback. Right. So I do feel like them winning MVP. I do want to play a little bit of devil's advocate, and I want to say that a running back is going to win this year, and I think it's pretty clear that if you know me, you know who I think is going to win. So we're going to start with you. Who do you think is the MVP?
Now, aside from statistics, I think Russell Wilson is one of the most impactful players in the league.
I do. I feel like without Russell Wilson, Seattle doesn't even have close to 500, over 500.
Right, and so, but his numbers are getting there, and of course, he usually performs in the second half of the season. But I went with Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott.
Right now, as of right now, I think that's subject to change. But Dak Prescott is 2,640 yards as a rookie.
Right.
17 touchdowns as a rookie.
Right.
Only 2 interceptions.
Which is
in
insane.
10 games as a rookie.
Mind
you, Carson Wentz has 7. Another rookie that's highly heralded. Tom Brady still has 1, correct?
1 pick.
And that's
Tom.
That's the GOAT.
That's Tom Brady.
He's the best of all time. And this guy has 2, only 1 more. He has the equivalent to Russell Wilson in interceptions and 6 more touchdowns than Russell Wilson. My guy.
Right.
And when it comes to QBR, he's got a 108.6,
which is insane for
a rookie.
As a rookie.
So
this is crazy. This Dallas team, they have built when people think of teams who have went into a rebuilding stage, no one predicted Dallas to do this.
No, you draft 2 rookies and
they
the
went
team
for
flips around.
They went for lineman after lineman after lineman after lineman. They got the best solid 5 in the league, and then you look at and then they went out and they already had Dez Bryant, re-signed him, and then just in the crazy turn of events, Tony Romo goes down.
Yeah,
this guy Dak Prescott, no one heard from him. Jason Garrett obviously coached in the senior game, but turns out he was on the other team.
Yeah.
Dak was on the other team. Yeah. And then the coaches would talk to each other, and they're like, this kid just has a motivation that I've never seen.
Yeah.
This kid, he wants to be the best. And then in the same drafts my MVP, Ezekiel Elliott, which I think this team will make the Super Bowl. I'm just going to say it. I feel like if it's in Dallas, this team could go toe-to-toe with Seattle.
That would be a game.
That's going to be a game for the ages. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, Ezekiel leading the league in rushing yards. Out of these 3 candidates, he's leading in yards per catch, has the most all-purpose yards, and is tied for second in rushing touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Ezekiel Elliott having 1,000 yards as a rookie already. He has 1,102 on 223 carries, averaging 5 yards per carry. I think this guy is the MVP. You guys make the pick. If you guys want to, you guys can try to make the argument towards us of who you think should be the MVP. So I think that's going to do it for today. If you guys...
Wait, hold on. I'm going to put my input on both of these.
Okay.
So my candidate, Dak Prescott, if you look at overall QBRs for the past 3 games, Russell Wilson, another guy I'd really love to throw in there, has a 119.8. Matt Ryan, 117. He has been the front runner.
Correct.
Over the past couple weeks.
Yep.
Tom Brady, 113.9. That's the GOAT. And Derek Carr, 94.4.
And this is crazy. This is insane.
Man Dak Prescott over the past 3 games, a 130. And then Zeke.
As a rookie.
Yeah, as a rookie. And then to solidify Zeke a little bit, him and DeMarco Murray
have been
really
toe-to-toe.
The top 2 running backs in terms of rushing yards.
Yep.
David Johnson more so taking
all-purpose.
A rushing and passing, an all-purpose approach. But DeMarco Murray and Ezekiel Elliott, they really have kind of identical offensive lines.
Yep.
We talked about this before, but identical offensive lines. And Zeke has had more yards per carry.
He has.
So I think that puts him a step above in terms of an MVP race.
Yep.
I think they're really on the same level overall.
I'd say so.
But anyway, back to your outro.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. I know it was a lengthy episode, so if you stayed this long, thank you. And if you have any questions you'd like to submit, once again, in the comments below, or you could send it to us on social media. We will answer them eventually. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.